piping that made up the superheater. In Big Boy, more than a mile of piping. On this 4,000 class, the mechanical parts all seemed huge, as if created by giants. Inspectors used their sense of hearing and touch to check for leaks and loose parts. To check for air leaks, they'd use torches to watch for telltale drafts coming from pipes. The new process of motion pictures made use of locomotives from the very beginning of that industry. Trains added visual excitement as early as the Great Train Robbery made in 1903. Fight scenes atop moving trains were as common as showdowns at high noon. And sometimes it was hard to figure out whether the locomotive was supposed to be a big prop, a performer, or even a location.
Look out, Barlow!
In 1917, shadows of the Great War in Europe started to darken the cities of America. A lot of people said it wasn't our business, a foreign war in faraway countries. But American boys signed up in patriotic fervor. And during those years of the First World War, the U.S. government called the train system to work in moving doughboys from every part of the nation to ships headed for the European battlefield. But when the armistice was declared, American boys returned to a country alive with steam power. It was the golden age of steam. You could stand and watch the great machines and dream of riding anywhere in the country. You knew that the distant moving serpent of boxcars and flat cars led to every city and town you'd read about and dreamed about. The engineer's whistle beckoned you. The siren called romance and adventure. And if you couldn't afford to board, then you could stand on an underpass and feel the blast of steam power around you. Feel the shaking power of the engine below. Watch the vapor envelop you like clouds of a dream. In New York, the New York Central consolidated hundreds of smaller railways into one magnificent system. The NYC had 300 of these giant Hudson types running on their tracks. Likewise, out west, lines like the Southern Pacific and the Santa Fe crossed the rugged deserts of Arizona and Nevada. On the Chicago and Northwestern, rugged little E2s pulled everything from small locals to lengthy freights along the picturesque causeway near Sterling. And there were the E4s, like this one, pulling the 49er train. And in the mountains, even heavy snows could not stop the push and pull of motive power. A spiderweb of steel crisscrossed the nation. To Flint, Dearborn, and Detroit, where automobiles were born and soon covered the nation's roads. But when the Great Depression struck in 1929, the railroads were hurt as badly as everyone else in America. Rail yards sat vacant, quiet as graveyards. The few trains that were running often had jobless hobos sneaking rides on the rails. Passenger traffic dwindled in favor of cars, and trucks began to take over some of the transportation of goods. The burgeoning airplane industry also took a growing piece of the travel pie. But in the mid-1930s, as Franklin Roosevelt created the New Deal, railroads created their new look: streamlining.
Was that a train or a bullet?
That's the new Union Pacific Streamliner on the cross-country run. She's using the same pre-tested oil.
Not everybody knew quite what to make of these newfangled engines. But something about the new style made people want to get back on board. Rail travel shot back up like never before. Stations once again filled with the scuffle of feet, the hoarse voice calling out departure times, the partings, and the reunions. Many famous engines were refitted with new aluminum or steel shrouds to become reborn as a streamliner. Teardrop shapes that cut down on wind resistance, but most of all, appealed to the eye. The interiors of these new train cars were like cities on rails, with restaurant cars, sleeping facilities,